Welcome back to Sikkim 365 Radio. This is Paul Catalina's Top 5 at 5:55, presented by Champion Salon and Barber. To book your appointment, go to championsalonandbarber.com.
All right, top 5 things teams should do in college football. Some of these might be controversial, some of them might not be. I'm curious to see how you guys react to some of these. Number 5. Pete Thamel got me thinking about this yesterday. Number 5. Texas Tech should evaluate their athletic director. And I say this, and Kirby Hocutt is a very out there athletic director. He's very out in front. He made a great basketball hire and then, of course, lost it to Texas. That happens at Texas Tech. But he has not made a great football hire. And that's what drives the ship. And, he was, maybe a little too talkative during the expansion thing for a little bit, but now that's passed. But I think that Texas Tech needs to evaluate top down what they're doing in their athletic department.
All right. Yeah, he's
I'm not saying fire him, but I'm just saying.
I think sometimes during the Big 12 realignment, I know some Texas Tech fans got a little bit their panties in a wad when I really think that there were a couple of times when he was out there with the Big 12 was trying to get things done where he spoke out, and I think Bob Bowlesby would have wished that he would have not said much. But, he was Miami, right? Mm-hmm. He was part of the college football playoff committee, right? Mm-hmm. A spokesperson. Okay.
Well, he's 0 for 2 on head coaches.
Yeah.
He hired Kingsbury, and that didn't work out. That was the big, hey, the former player coming back to save the day, and now Cliff's having a way better time in the NFL with the only unbeaten team in the league and a star quarterback in Kyler Murray. So that worked out well for Kingsbury in the long run. But, yeah, he fired Cliff and hired Cliff, fired Cliff, and then, brought on Matt Wells, and Matt Wells is just not the guy. He's just not. I don't think there's any Tech fan that probably believes that he is. He seems like a nice dude and all of that, but, it's business, and right now they're not taking care of business on the football field. So, yeah, Hocutt's obviously got a lot of influence across, college athletics because of everything that you guys mentioned. But, yeah, he needs to reevaluate his choices for head football coach, certainly.
Yeah. Number 4, and I've said this before, USC should avoid a splash hire. They should think of it like Olympic diving. No splash means you did it cleanly.
Yeah, it's going to be awesome when find out that a former Full House castmate had lied about their resume or something like that. A whole academic, bring the academic, have a false resume for the new head coach at USC or something. No, yeah, you would like to think so, right? But there's some people in charge at some certain places that they can't help themselves. I don't know if that's the case at USC anymore or not, but I know it has been in the past to an extent for many programs out there. And, yeah, when you hit, it's huge. But
Clay Helton, was he a splash?
No. That was more of a – I'm not saying him in particular. I'm saying programs in general have made –
I think they should avoid a splash hire to counteract the fact that they didn't make one before. I think sometimes with that you go too far in the wrong direction and hire somebody for what Dave Aranda said of who they are and not what they do.
But what if that splash hires like Chris Peterson?
Maybe, but yeah. I still don't. I think he's going to ride his boat.
Probably. I'm just saying if there's a coach of that caliber out there, I don't know. That would be a splash, yes, but yeah, I'm with you. They don't need to go crazy with this, and they need to obviously make a good decision because they could ill afford to keep the losing ways up.
From Tony Altomar, yes, no splash hire. He knows all about what's going on at USC. Tony, thank you.
Yeah. Number 3, LSU should move on from Coach O, and I'm going to add something to this and hire Billy Napier.
Okay.
I think they should hire Billy Napier to replace Coach O.
Yeah, I don't know. Billy Napier seems like he would be right up the alley for that job. My only hesitance is I just don't know enough about him off the field. I'm not saying there's anything, but just I don't know his history or anything like that really. But yeah, from a connection standpoint and success standpoint and all that, Billy Napier would make a lot of sense. So I don't know about that part of it, but I absolutely do think LSU should move on from Orgeron.
We'll have Mike Scarborough. We were going to have him today, but it never was able to knock that down. But I guarantee, this is what he had told me. He mentioned Chip Kelly. No, he mentioned, I think was it Brian Kelly, Notre Dame. He mentioned Fickle at Cincinnati, which I know that'll get the Cincinnati fans riled up. I'm just saying that's a compliment.
Well, he's going to be brought up for every big job there is. I mean, that's just, you better get used to that.
There was a name or two. I mean, he called me over the weekend and he asked me about Aranda because he's not leaving. I will tell you this right now. I will not do the show if he's not the head coach. God, should I do that?
No.
No?
Shouldn't.
Maybe just for a day.
You guys would love it.
Okay, just for a day.
I'll miss the first show after the first game next year if Aranda's not the head coach at Baylor next year. I saw a player's parent who's committed to Baylor say it's time for them to extend his contract. Let's wait on that. Yeah. I mean, that'd be great, but let's kind of remember. Don't
Schools
get over
do that
your
too
skis.
much.
Yeah, there's definitely a problem you can run into when you do that. I think the great thing about Aranda is I don't really have much of any fear of some giant skeleton leaping from the closet and be like, what in the? I've been fooled before, obviously, but he just seems like a salt of the earth type of dude.
I would think though, if he was. Catholics, when we're kids, we have to go to confession, and you go and you sit and you tell them I said a bad word, and I didn't let my sister play on the Nintendo, and all these kind of little kid sins. I yelled at my mom when she told me to go to bed. Those are things. I would think that Dave Aranda's thing was I didn't put all the spoons in the dishwasher.
In the right direction.
I went to bed 5 minutes late.
It was,
that kind of a deal.
It's another compliment, yet another player or coach at Baylor that others are looking at because, you know what? Bryles was that way, and then Rule was that way. And now, because of the success he's having, you're starting to see some smoke.
All right, here we go. Number 2. Nebraska should keep Scott Frost.
I agree. You know what? I've changed my mind on this.
Oh, really?
Yeah, yes. I have. It drives me to the point of not drinking. That they have late game meltdowns and mistakes. The Martinez fumble was gut-wrenching. They have gotten better. But they have to hire a special teams coach. They have to do something. I would stick with him because I think if you don't, then I think you set the program, which is already set back, you set it back another 5 or 6 years. They might get smoked by Minnesota this weekend. It's not very good this year. I just think you got to stay the course with him. I believe that they do.
And, I agree with you. I think that they're getting better incrementally.
They could have wins again. I know it means they lost. Michigan State's top 10. Michigan's top 10. I mean, they're right on the cusp of both of those games, but they somehow melt down in the worst of ways.
Yeah, which means I think they might need to get some of the old players out and then move on. Okay, number 1, and this is thanks to Pete Thamel, but it was really true. Miami should assess where they are and not where they were.
No question.
Where are you right now? Not what you could be, not what you were. What are you now, and how do you get to where you want to be? Because they don't have an organizational flow chart that's working right there. And even though it's a private school and a small private school, and things are different now than they were back when Miami was doing well, they have potential to be really, really good, and they're just not doing it. And that means president, athletic director, coach, all the way down.
Like a spine. Like you want your spine aligned that way. Yeah, I agree.
Yeah, the De'Aaron King thing was a big blow. I mean, he's a really good player, and I think, having him would make a difference for them. But, unfortunate that he just happened to get banged up early on. But yeah, I mean, they're definitely still living off the glory days of the 80s and the 90s and even the early 2000s. I mean, still hear about that 0-1 Miami team. We always will hear about that 0-1 Miami team when the greats are talked about. But, it's been a lot of misses and fewer hits, since that time. I mean, that's 20 years ago. You know what I mean? So, they've had some successes here and there, but they've also not reached that mountaintop since that point. And
sometimes rock stars play arenas for a long, long time, and you're the Rolling Stones. Sometimes you're Eddie Money, and you play bars. Yeah, that's their Eddie Money right now.
Yeah, they're Eddie Money, and they need to realize that, the rock star lifestyle could still be there, or that type of fame, but, they need to go back to hit the restart button in a bit, because there's far too many guys that come into Miami now that think they're the U, that think that they are Michael Irvin from the 80s or Ray Lewis in the, I guess it would have been early 90s, 2000s, yeah. But they're not. They're not anywhere close to that. They have it in uniform and name only, and that's what's missing.
Think about the ACC with Miami and Florida State, 2 names, history. They're killing the conference. right?
Yep.
Yeah, they are.
They really are.
In the football-rich state.
Yeah.
I mean, that's where the talent is in the ACC, where the high school talent is, and the two colleges that should be farming and growing it are.
But yeah, it was like, and I know we gotta go, but it was like Manny Diaz was hired, and the first thing he does is he goes out like on the boat, on the, and like it's excess, and all that was fine and dandy, but it's not nearly as cool when you're not winning football games.
All right, Paul, good stuff. All the logos are part of Top 5. Armstrong, Sims, Jack McKenzie, Craig Smoak. I'm David Smoak. Thank you, our sponsors who are amazing from day one, April 6, 2020, where we are now, and the growth from you who watch and